Hey guys, so this is my week 5 video for our practicum class. And so this week I went in on Tuesdays as normal. Luckily no snow days at all, so I got to be there for the full day after winter break and everything. And then I also was able to go in today, just since there have been a few half days and delays due to the weather this winter. So I, occasionally will be going in 2 times a week, sometimes maybe even 3, depending on if I'm able to, make it there that often, between, the school and then also just with work at the athletic center. But so this week on Tuesday, the beginning of the day was pretty typical. So I was with Kirsten in the high school, and pretty much we were finishing up junior scheduling for their senior year, which it seems that not that we're behind, but there had to be so many reschedules due to like the constant weather delays and closings, so that kind of made things difficult. And then obviously with winter break being last week, they had to make some adjustments. So this past Tuesday was the last grouping of about 10 students who had either because of delays, like snow delays or closures, had to reschedule, or because they were absent and had to reschedule, or because they were late and missed their appointments. So those were kind of the last juniors to go through their schedules, after having then gone through all the sophomores, and then before finally this week starting the freshman class schedules for them as sophomores. So that was just kind of the final bit of the morning for that was to go through the rest of those juniors, and then next, one of the juniors that actually did come in, it was interesting, was asking questions about looking for jobs for herself, because she was saying for the for the summer, she's looking like for jobs because her parents want her to get one. She was also like, it would be good experience to start to become a bit more independent, but also take on more responsibility, which I thought was awesome. And then as she kind of is starting to plan as well to figure out what she wants to do for her senior year, and then also after senior year, so for college, and she's very interested in like environmental studies and science and forestry. She was kind of, Kirsten and I were talking to her about, her potential options and what is she thinking about after college, after high school. Does she want to go to college? Does she just want to go straight into, maybe forestry work, because she's in BOCES right now, in the forestry program. But so something that she was considering, like, so she had questions about like environmental studies and forestry in general. And so she seems like she did want to go in, she did want to go to college, and she was thinking between Potsdam or SUNY Canton. She wants to stay close. So I, from this meeting, then I was able to find out, because Kirsten knew that Canton has like a 1+1 program, which is pretty cool. So pretty much it's you get your associate's degree, but then you could stay, continue to stay at Canton if you want to finish out the last 2 years to get a bachelor's degree. But so this specific program, you do 1 year at SUNY Canton, and then the second year you actually go to this forestry school, I guess. It's called Wanakina. And so SUNY Canton has this, which is a pretty cool offering, where you get a year at a school, then you get a year to go to then a forestry school. So it almost reminded me of like engineering programs. So I thought that was really interesting to learn about. And this girl seemed really excited to kind of learn about this, to know that this was a program. And it pretty much just revolves around forestry in general, but it's like as a SUNY Canton, to get your associate's degree, you could choose between, there's like 3. It's forestry technology, land surveying, and then the third one I think was just like environmental studies in general. So that's just cool to learn about, to know, for students who are into that. Maybe they don't want to go right into the workforce, they also do want to go to school. So it's kind of combining what they eventually want to do for work. So like I said, the student wanted to go into forestry at some point, but she also gets to get her, get a college education. So that I thought was really interesting to learn. And then next, there was a situation where a senior came in, and pretty much, long story short, he applied to a bunch of schools, Clarkson being one of them, and a few of these schools he applied to, I think it was only 2 of them, it was Clarkson, and then I can't think of what the other school was, but Clarkson was the main issue. He sent in his application, he sent in all of his, stuff, everything else he needed, except he didn't send in, like, references, because he didn't ask anyone. And then they also reported back, so, like, we got an email saying that, oh, we need his test scores. He didn't take the SAT or the ACT. So Clarkson is not test optional, so they need scores. So he's kind of in a sticky situation where, one, it's like, his application is still pending, or it's like it went through, but the decision is pending. But we're surprised, I guess, that, like, the date's passed and he hasn't gotten in all of his stuff because clearly he needed test scores. But I guess Clarkson is still entertaining the idea of taking him, I guess, which was interesting to find out too, just the logistics of even that, to see that a school would still consider someone who submitted all the other stuff but hasn't submitted test scores, when that's, something that's written saying we require test scores. So kind of now this kid's scrambling last minute to now try to get in to take this March SAT, and I think it's a week. I think it's next weekend. So I'm interested to see kind of what happens with him, because like I said, that's kind of a big scramble. All of a sudden now he's like emailing, like, I need to sign up. And it's like, it was this earlier this week on Tuesday. It's like Wednesday was the last day to sign up for that SAT, like for the late deadline, the late registration deadline. So that's one of those things too. It's, interesting to see kids and how sometimes they get behind, or they don't read into things, like read into the specifics of what they need to do for requirements and all of that. But so that was just very interesting to see, because they didn't even know that he had applied to Clarkson. Like, it wasn't put in his Naviance. Like, he has to then, I guess, he's supposed to link his Naviance to his, I guess, like, within the Common Apps, but I guess he just sent in an application. Like, they didn't know this. Like, there were other schools they knew. Like, they were like, okay, they know that this student applied to, and that was, they'd spoken about it, and it was in there. So I guess he applied to Clarkson last minute. Yeah, so it's an interesting situation. So I'm intrigued to kind of see next week what kind of comes of that, as like he'll be preparing for the SAT, that next weekend. So, I wonder what Clarkson will actually end up doing with that. But they seem to still be entertaining the idea of considering him, even though the deadline is passed and he hasn't put his, grades in. But it seems like if he can take this March SAT, and as soon as he gets them, send in the official or unofficial, whatever, like, grades come first to the school, that they'll still accept him. So interesting situation. And then I got to go to the 1211 class again, which was awesome. So their theme that they actually discussed was cryptocurrency, which, for those of you who maybe don't know, it's examples of like cryptocurrency are like Bitcoin, which is a really popular one now. But there are other forms of it as well. But so I thought this was really cool, because at first I was like, oh, I feel like this is maybe a bit, out of reach, because even like myself, like I only know a bit about Bitcoin and like that kind of cryptocurrency realm, and it's even hard to grasp for me. And even like Lindsay, who's the other high school counselor who like runs this class, for her it's pretty much like, she's blind to the topic as well. Like, she doesn't really know much about it. So a lot of people struggle to understand this, but what's cool is that there's like this pamphlet that I think they get it weekly or bi-weekly. It's called Times for Kids. And so pretty much those are almost, again, it's news. It's pretty much current events or news. And this little, like, one, like, almost like pamphlet, like, folder open. It has like the front page, and then you flip it. It's on the back, and then on the next page, and then on the back of that, it has like news. Each week or whatever, every 2 weeks is like a different current event. So I thought that was really awesome, because it's, again, tailored towards kids. But so, the 1211 group, it's a lot of like low functioning kids. Like I said, it ranges from, there's a student with autism, to then there's other students who are maybe more high functioning but still low cognitive abilities. And so like have like in resource room, and other like, have other special like accommodations with like within like IEPs, or just other assistances throughout their school day. So it was cool to see, because the Times for Kids, like I said, it allows then these students to still be updated on current events that, they're probably not as, they don't know as much about, or even if they know a bit, they don't really know, in detail about certain things. So again, like Lindsay kind of harped on the point that, it's important for these students, because they're pretty much going into work. Like, they're getting CDOSs, they're not going to college. They are, going to the workforce afterwards. So again, it's life skills. So for them to know about, how to manage money and finances, and so they don't get swindled, like Lindsay kept saying, and or taken advantage of in that way, and she gave an example of, she even went to the car dealership, and in situations like that, knowing, that you're getting, the best bang for your buck, and you're not getting ripped off and stuff like that. So it's important to kind of be aware of those things. But so again, this whole topic was cryptocurrency. And so we kind of just like the whole little pamphlet went over, it talked about Bitcoin, and then cryptocurrency in general, and then also talked about like, two main keywords, like what a transaction is, and then what mint is, like minting coins, which I didn't really know about that, honestly, so that was something new for me to learn too. But so we went through that, and then we had each like student, they could raise their hand to like read through the paragraph and stuff, and then we would kind of break that down after the student read it, because they're all at different reading levels. Some of them really don't know how to read, and others really just they struggle. So we help them through it, and then, like I said, break down what exactly that paragraph meant. So I thought that was like really cool to learn for something. Like I said, the current events for kids, like times for kids, that's awesome. It's a great idea, and I think that, like I said, it could even be used at the elementary or middle school level, because it's times for kids. But again, you can use it in those, maybe like I said, not even just special needs classes, but like I said, a life skills class, and other kind of like realms within that. So that was really cool, and just kind of, like I said, harping on the importance of financials, and just, everyone, I think, can benefit a lesson from that. But I think it's really important, again, like for this, like for that, like those students to kind of just start to learn, and like the different forms of money, and that maybe this might 10 years down the road, Bitcoin or cryptocurrency might be the mode of financials. So to kind of, for them to just be updated too, to feel like they have an understanding of what's going out, like around in the world around them, so they're kind of like up to date as well. Like I said, because it's probably not common that they're, either can read the newspaper or are reading, or that they're watching the news. So it's like at times kids like that, parents or other teachers might try to shelter them from that. But I think it is really important to make sure that they're in the know and they're informed, to the best of their ability, of kind of what's going on around in the world around them. So I thought that was a really cool topic, that was on that, like I said, Times for Kids sheet, and I'm glad that Lindsay went over that, because I thought it was really beneficial for them to, like I said, know about the financial world in that sense, just like, and just kind of knowing what to look for, and common, different ways we use money and different forms of money to use, and all of that. So I thought it was a really good class. And then let's see. The last thing then, so from today was a bunch of like freshman scheduling seminars, but the biggest thing is, so I got to finally meet with the one student that I'm going to be meeting with for my case study for this semester. So she's a freshman. I thought she was an 8th grader for some reason, but she's a freshman. And so pretty much like I got to meet with her today, and we got to kind of just, talk, get to know each other, like super casual. Just, for myself, I kind of just explained that, I'm just like, Kirsten introduced me and just said who I was, and that I was a grad student, and asked if it would be okay if she would be willing to meet with me, because it's hers and also Michelle's student, because Michelle has, like half of the or she has all the 9th graders, but, next year then she'll technically be under Kirsten, and, because she'll be on her part of the alphabet. But so pretty much then, like, just introduced me, and then we both went into like the conference room by ourselves to just kind of talk, like I said, to get to know each other a bit better. And I just explained that, she can say as little or as much as she wants, and I'm just kind of here as another, like a third party person, to just be here to support her, and just be another outlet for her, to talk about, whatever it is like that day she's dealing with, or even in general, if there's things that crop up that she just wants to talk about. It could be anything. It could be good or bad. We can just chat, like I said, just to be another person for her to, to speak to, and someone who's there to listen to her, like to actively listen. So I kind of explained that to her, and she just told me a bit about her backstory, and everything, and how she's currently living in Ogdensburg with her grandma, and it's a very interesting situation where years ago when she was little, her dad sexually abused her, and she then, I guess, had told the counselor when she was little. This is, I guess, was back in elementary school, and the counselor then, I guess, obviously reported that. And it's funny, she's mentioned today, she's like, it's weird. I had an initial distrust with counselors, because I told this one counselor and she told, and everything kind of blew up in my face. But she's like, I realized that, that was for the best, because I was so little, I didn't understand it at the time. And now I get it. And so for me now, having counselors to talk to, like, it's really great and freeing. And so I thought that was really, like, good to hear, because I could totally see as a kid not really understanding the gravity of how bad that situation was, to now, seeing that that counselor was doing the right thing. So she just kind of talked about that, and how, like, busing from having the school bus her from Ogdensburg to Canton is really tough, and just, sometimes the bus is late, so she gets to school late, and it's really affecting her schoolwork, and she can't be involved in after school activities because of the bus, and there's a lot of things going on with that are really making her struggle even more. It's been a stressful year, so we just kind of talked a lot about that, and we plan to meet again, so we'll meet every Tuesday on my regular days, so I really look forward to that, and keeping you guys posted with how that's going.